Yeah, how's things? For years, I've been using these, and these, and these, and whatever else other ones I got down there. But basically, I've been using plug-in earphones to listen to my music and podcasts while I've been doing work in the yard and in the workshop and that sort of stuff. Invariably, this sort of thing happens. They get dirty, they get yanked out of my ears because they get caught on tools. So I've wanted some wireless earbuds for a long time, and I started buying Bluetooth sets from the cheap shop. I think I've gone through a couple of those, and they only seem to last for about between an hour and 2 hours on a charge. I recently found ones that looked like the Apple earbuds, but they were a cheap $15 pair from the cheap shop. They'll hold a charge for a few hours, which is good, but the one bad thing about them is that while they'll block out sound, they don't block out all of the noise. And I've already got hearing damage, so let's not go there. Anyway, my wife and I started looking at Apple EarPods and the fact that the new ones, the EarPod Pros, are noise cancelling and will block out a certain number of decibels, and so they've basically become OSHA compliant. OSHA, for those people in Australia who don't know, is basically like Safe Work New South Wales or Work Health and Safety type organisations in various states. While I was really excited to see that the EarPod Pros had all those features, about $400. So thought about it, and then I thought, no, I've heard a lot about Isotunes. I said I'm gonna investigate them again, look at the price of them. And it just so happened, I think I'd seen a video, Paul Jackman video, and he was talking about it, and he said that they had a sale going on at this point in time. And so I thought I'll jump on. And what they did have, it was the Father's Day weekend sale. Buy a pair of Isotunes free, which is the completely wireless Bluetooth ones, and get a pair of Isotunes Extras for free. So I jumped on it. The exchange rate from Australian to US dollars was so, but it was still cheaper than buying the Apple EarPods with quite a bit left over. They arrived in the mail yesterday. I'm going to do an unboxing basically, and I'll try them out and I guess give you my point of view of them, of both. And that won't happen straight away because I've obviously got to have to charge them, but let's have a look what you get in the box. Let's have a look at the Isotunes Extra this time. This is the one that actually has a cord on it, and this goes around your neck. I think the benefit of this sort is that if you need to take them out, you can take them out and not have to put them down somewhere, drop them in your pocket or whatever. I claimed 8+ hours battery life, music and call, stylish protection, 27 decibel ear reduction, like noise reduction. Claimed. Interesting. It says 26 on there. And 27. 27 rating. That's interesting. Bit of a faux pas, 27 decibel claim reduction. So the back of the box, that should say 27 as well. So noise isolation for you, noise cancellation for them, so the microphone blocks out a steady state of noise, which is good. Bluetooth up to 30 feet, that's not too bad. And you could get around the work site without having to leave your phone in your pocket where it could get damaged. Bit of information about the foam earbud bit, showing the little threaded section, and that you've got your controls on the bits that are hanging down close to your neck rather than reaching up into your ears. And this box will flip open. A few more information in here saying, okay, we've got 4 pairs of the Isotunes trilogies, 4 different sizes. It's interesting. 3 pairs of the silicone ones, charging cable, a storage pouch, a little bit of information on how to apply the earbud into your ears, and a little bit of a window. Hello. Showing what they like on inside. Now, we get something to cut this plastic, the tape. Hang on. Tape has been cut. Okay. So there's your storage pouch. What's inside there? Charge cable. A nice instruction book in multiple languages, so there's probably not that much information in here. Let me see how far we get to see the same picture. Yeah, so all of that book, it's probably the same in the other one too. Okay, that's how much of the booklet you need. At 5, 6, 8 pages. But it's good to have this sort of a booklet so that you can refer back to without having to look up the PDF. So I won't be hard against them that. Stop, don't throw away. See if we've got 100% guarantee. Alright, so when we look at the packaging, I'm not a fan of this plastic packaging. Sometimes I think that the blow molded packaging can hold stuff just a little too hard. These are your extra earbuds, going the other way. So you've got a little baggie. And then you have to find the ones I want to use before they're sticking anything in your ears. Right. So I'm going to say extra large, or large, medium, extra small, small, maybe. Alright, now I'm usually a fan of this style, the foam ones, because it even shows it in the manual. Give it a squeeze, and then when you push it in your ear, that expands out, which basically helps to block the noise, like external sound. And like I said, I want to use these for hearing protection while still being able to listen to podcasts and music without having to turn them up super loud to hear over the noise of the tools. Alright, so this is designed to hang around your neck. It's got a little bit of a springiness to it, so it will stay around your neck, this part staying against your neck. These bits going up to your ears, they should hang around fairly comfortably. And I believe these bits here are magnetised. Yeah. So if you have to take them out of your ears, this is around your neck, they just hang down at the front. You don't lose them. I like that feature. Got your little controls on the side of this one here. And so basically, these two bits are going to be the batteries to provide that 8+ hour battery life for use, which means these would be good for a full day on site. Because you're probably not going to be listening to sounds the whole day. We'll see. So I'm going to get these charged up, have a bit of a listen. Actually, I'm just looking. I thought I'd just better check that. Where's the charge port? Here's the charge port here. Little rubber cap cover over the micro USB plug. And then once charged up, close that back off, stop dirt from getting into it. All right, so that's what you get in the box. Bag, the Isotunes, some spare plugs in different sizes, and your charge cable. Here's one thing I'm not too pleased straight out of the box. That there is what they use to designate which side is left and right. Now, if I didn't have my glasses on, I would not have seen that at all. I was thinking it might have been somewhere on here because I was thinking, yeah, microphone's probably on the right-hand side. I don't know why I thought that, but there is no other indication anywhere on them to say which side goes in where. To be honest, it probably doesn't matter if you had them around the other way. It's not going to be a big deal unless you're listening to something that has definitive left and right sound to it. That's a down mark on my point. That's a bit stupid. They should have it a little bit more clearly marked, but it's a small point just on a first impressions. Okay, initial first thoughts on the Isotunes Extra. Good sound blocking in terms of working as a piece of hearing protection, as long as you get the right earpiece put in. I'm using the foam ones and they came with 4 different sizes. I grabbed one which I thought was the right size, and when I tried it, it didn't quite puff out of my ear, so I got the other one, the next one's up, and squeeze down, push in, let them expand out. They block sound really well. I've done a few tests where I've just sort of hit against things with tools and then listened to it again with one out so I can hear the difference, and that it really does block it. Like at the moment, it sounds like I'm wearing my little squished in earplugs. Podcast sound is pretty good. I also listened to some music in it, and the song I had wasn't the best in fidelity, because it was a demo song that a mate of mine recorded years ago, but the sound was good in these in terms of getting in the volume control and your start-stop controllers on here. That works fine. It's good. It's a good feel to the buttons. I'm not actually sure, again, whether they control the camera, and I haven't taken any calls on this, so I don't know what it's like with a phone call. Just going to try the start-stop button. Okay, when I pressed that, it stopped the camera, but that was because it was starting up the iPod, the music again. So it's probably because that was the last thing I was using before doing this. So not really sure if that's actually the case. I haven't listened back to this yet, so I don't know whether the sound is coming through the microphone on the phone or the microphone on this. So I'm going to do that test of walk away and then come back and see if it's actually recording. Back at the shed, and I'll listen back to this to see if it actually did record it. Alright, so first impressions pretty much the same with the Isotunes Free in terms of sound deadening, user experience with regards to podcast listening, music listening, and the distance that I can walk away from my phone and still have it connected through the Bluetooth. Yeah, I'll have to try it out with power tools. Maybe tomorrow. The weather's been pretty crap here today, and I have to set my power tools up out in the yard because I don't want to fill this little shed up with dust. So, okay, I've just listened back and have just realised, yep, it's not recording the voice through the microphone. It's actually recording the voice in the video through the phone. So that's a little bit frustrating. I'll have to contact customer service and see if they know anything about that, or whether they just weren't meant to be like this. Still just trying out some of the features of these. Like, I'm not a big fan of this sort of stuff hanging around your neck, but it all depends on your job that you're doing. They seem to just get in the way, especially if I'm down moving around. I'd hate these if I was working on the car or the van or something like that, because that was one of the things I had with the corded ones. I'd end up running the cord up inside my shirt all the time, which was a plus, but then they'd end up hanging out here, and just like these, they'd get caught. One nice feature with these is take them out of your ears and they magnetise together so they stay around your neck. But then I noticed, like, if you were listening to podcasts or music, as soon as you take them apart again, as soon as you do that, it restarts the podcast or the music you're listening to, and just then it stopped the camera. Just like I said about pressing this starts and stops the podcast stuff, and if the camera is going at the same time, then it switches that off. So if all you were doing was listening to music, I think if you I'm assuming now that if you pull them out and click them together, that it'll stop the podcast. Let me check that and I'll let you know. Yep, that's confirmed. If you take them out, as soon as the magnets snap together, it will switch off the music or the podcast, and then when you pull them back apart and put them in your ears, it starts them up again. I'm more likely to just press this to start and stop, especially to stop, because I don't want to miss anything in the time that I'm taking something out of my ears and clicking them together. I think if you're wearing work gloves, pulling these out and just letting the magnets snap together would be an easier way of doing that, because like somebody calls out to you, snap them together, it stops your podcast, stops your music. Podcast, I think, is probably a little bit more of interest in that sort of thing, because with the topic, the ones that I listen to, you don't want to miss any of the information, whereas if it's music, you just go, yeah, what? I miss a bit of the song, so what? But having them, start up again as soon as you unclick them, you've then got to try them, because these are hearing protection, you need to get them set in your ears right. Like at the moment, these are just sitting in my ears like this. They're not actually in the way they should be for blocking out sound. I'll have to try these. I'll have to use these a little bit more to really get used to this. I'll use them tomorrow when I'm doing a lot of the work around here, using the drop saw, the driver drill, the impact gun, that sort of stuff. They're all things that are like loud, so I'll try them out with those and see whether these bug me throughout the day. And I think during the day I might see if I can make a phone call or a FaceTime call just to test this part out as well, because I did that with the Isotunes Frees and they were good. I guess we'll stop that here and we'll check in with the next bit of the test. Quick update on the Isotunes Extras. I'm finding that their range isn't quite as far as the Isotunes Frees. Sometimes I think it could be where I've got my phone sitting, because I've had it in the laundry and I've walked over here and it starts dropping out. Or I've walked into one of the other sheds and it drops out, and then other times it's not so bad if I've got the phone sitting in a different spot in the laundry. So it's a little bit glitchy in that sense. I hooked them up to my iPad as well, and they were working well. It's good that I can have them hooked up to two things, although when it connects to one, it'll drop out from another. And then I had some issues this morning. I was on a Google Meet today with some shop teachers in the US, and I was actually doing work down in the laundry and listening in, that sort of stuff. So I had these connected, had myself muted, and I was just listening in. And then when they asked me a question, I unmuted myself, started talking, and they couldn't hear anything. It wasn't picking up from the microphone on the iPad. It wasn't picking up from this microphone. And I tried putting the volume up and everything. I ended up disconnecting the headset. And then when I did that, I still had no sound or anything. So I had to log out of the meeting, log back into the meeting, making sure that these weren't connected so that I could have it actually chat with them. So that was frustrating. Since then, I've actually used them with the drop saw here to cut some timber, and I didn't even have the volume on the podcast turned all the way up, and I could still hear it. I could have probably turned it up a bit more, but it did cut out enough of the noise so that it wasn't brain beating in there. And using an impact driver as well for framing, can still hear the noise, but it's nowhere near as now loud while wearing these. So as hearing protection good, as being able to be connected to music and podcasts while you're working is good. I get notifications if there's a phone call and I can answer it, or I get notifications of text messages and that sort of stuff, but I'm not sure if I've tried it with a FaceTime. I have to try that at some point. But the fact that, the hearing part worked for the Google Meet, but the microphone didn't, that's really frustrating. And I've actually emailed Isotunes about that with the Isotune Freeze as to why the microphone doesn't seem to work with the camera, but it works with FaceTime and that sort of stuff. And this is another thing I'll have to say. I was in a Google Meet and it wouldn't work. So I'll have to fiddle around with it and hopefully that picks up. Otherwise, there's a major part of why I bought them that isn't being able to be utilised. Okay, I've given a FaceTime call a go with these, and perfectly clear, no dropping out, anything like that. And I asked, because I had the call with my wife, I sat the phone down at one end of where I was working and just said, I'm going to sit this down and walk away. Can you tell me if the microphone's down, if I sound like I'm still standing next to the phone? And I walked 8 metres away maybe, and she said, yep, sounds as clear as if you were standing in front of the phone, so the sound hadn't changed. So the microphone gets used really well for the FaceTime call, and she said it sounds much clearer than me just having a FaceTime call on the phone without any sort of headset. So that's a plus for that. It's about time I think I wrapped up this Isotunes Extra review. I know before I said I really don't like things hanging around my neck, and I haven't liked the Bluetooth ones I've had in the past, and that's mainly been because, like, while they're hanging here, this part of it usually ends up dragging the whole lead all the way around. Then it hangs down on one side and it becomes uncomfortable. You turn, you get caught, and that sort of thing. With these Isotunes Extra ones, I think because they've got this rigid bit of wire and your 2 battery parts, that really stays where it is. And I've been using this for several days now, and it's been good. I'm still going to find out why there's an issue with it not working with Google Meets or with filming just with this camera, because I think that's annoying. Like, I could be using this, and I mean, listen to my voice right now. It's getting jacked up because my neighbours got their fireplace going, and I swear it smells like they're burning plastic, and it's just getting into my yard, affecting my lungs. Anyway, if I was doing a video like this, I've got the microphone right next to my mouth, and I think that'd be perfect. And I noticed, like, with this, it doesn't get in the way, whereas with the Apple iPod wired ones, they come down, they join up here, and when I'd be using those, I'd hear rustling, and it was the microphone rubbing on my beard. So I don't think that'll be a case with this. But anyway, I think it'll be a worthwhile purchase if you're looking for something like this. Like I said, I got both free, the Isotune frees and then the Isotunes Extras for free when I was doing mine, when I purchased them. And so I've got two types, and this one's been perfect, especially the idea of being able to unplug and just have them clip together. And I've found that I've had them on for the whole day and they haven't bugged me. And like I said, I've only used the foam tips because that's my preference. Haven't used the little silicone ones, but I've never really been a fan of the little silicone ones. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful for people who've obviously clicked on this because they're thinking about buying a set of Isotune. Absolutely honest opinion here, because I bought them myself. Well, I got these for free, but because I bought the Isotune frees, I wasn't paid or anything for doing this. So hope it's helped your decision process.